Hello, everybody. Hopefully you guys can hear me. All right. Let's see. Hello, everybody. Welcome into OVC. I am just trying to get my background up. Come on in, tap the screen, share the live. Okay, there we go. Hello, hello. Let's see. Let me do what I just told you guys to do. I'm going to share the live, repost the live, post it to your stories. Do all the... Well, I have to say you're on mute, but I can hear you. Weird. I think it's fine. I mean, I can hear you. It just says you're on mute. I don't know. That's fine. It's weird, but it's cool. Oh, they can't hear you. So maybe mute and unmute. Try that because they said they can't hear you. No. Can you guys hear me? Okay, just Buttermail. Let's see. Okay, it looks like you're off mute now.
I know. That's why I'm trying to see. Y'all give me a thumbs up. That's a quick way to tell me you can hear me. See, we can hear blessings. We cannot hear mail. Like, that's just coming through.
Okay,
I
Alice
can
said
hear
she
you
can hear us
both.
both. Now we can. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Great.
It's a lag on mine. All of that you read, I just got. Come on, Magda. AJ, you stupid. Okay, let me send my. If it let me do it. Nope.
We gonna rock with it.
Welcome,
It's fine.
welcome. We're gonna go lean with it, rock with it. Okay, I think they said Miss Leila is here.
Yes, I saw. I can't send her a request. So she can go ahead and request up. If you just hit those two little people at the bottom. It didn't let me send a request. She might be, if she's private, can OVC check to see if she is in the request? Yes, she is. Okay. I need OVC to check the guest request for me. Okay. Well, it's 12 people in here. I want to welcome you guys to OVC. Make sure you are liking the screen, sharing the live while we get the candidate in here. Let's go ahead and try to knock out this goal so we can get on the FYP. Hello, Joni. We have Joni in here today. Who else is in here? Misty, Miss Nikki. Welcome, welcome in. Let's see. Let's get a temperature check. Are you guys excited? Hey, Ayana. Are you guys excited for tonight, for the town hall? Let's get a thumbs up if you're excited for tonight. A thumbs up in the chat if you're excited for tonight. And also, do we have any Iowans in the house? That'll be interesting because our candidate, Leila, she is running for State House of Iowa. So do we have any Iowans in the house tonight? Let's see. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. I'm seeing some yeses in the comments that you're excited for tonight. Okay. Ooh, question for the chat. What is one thing you look for in a candidate? Let's answer that. What is one thing you look for in a candidate? When you're researching your candidates, you're seeing who's running for your local elections, your state or your federal elections, what is one thing you look for in your candidate?
Me. That's an easy one.
Okay. Let's Melanie first.
Honesty.
Okay. I like that. Truth.
We look
Somebody
for.
put
Get
truth,
it, dog.
so honesty, truth. Okay. Any more in the chat? What do you look for in a candidate when you are researching your candidate for your local, state, or federal elections? What do you look for? Look at that. And a candidate pops up.
Okay. What we gonna do? See what we get out of this one.
Integrity. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Hi.
Sorry, it had me resubmit my age online to get back in, so I'm sorry about that.
You're fine. Weird. Technology, you know. All right. Let's. Oh, Melanie,
Now,
you ready?
is this your
Okay.
first time being on a live?
This is my first time on a live, yes.
Okay, that might be why.
That's possible, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're
We're gonna
gonna
get
just
started in just a moment.
Yes. Get some more people in here. All right. So let's go ahead and get. Okay, that's possible. All right. So we're gonna get started. Hi, everybody. I want to welcome everybody to OVC. Our vote counts. I will be one of your moderators tonight. Blessings, and moderating with me will be Melanie. So I just want to introduce you to Our Vote Counts. Our Vote Counts is a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure every voice is heard through education, outreach, accountability, and action. We are building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. Join us, your vote, your power. All right, so tonight we have Leila, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Leila Staton joining us tonight. She's a candidate for Iowa State House District 54. Tonight we'll talk about her background, her vision for her district, and of course, taking your questions live. So I'm going to just give you a rundown of how the town hall is going to work. There will be categories of questions. Me and Melanie will go back and forth, just asking you different questions within a category, and then we'll also take questions from the comments, or people can request up to also ask you questions. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to give a little background into Leila. So Leila Staton, she grew up most of her life in Grady County. She's the daughter of a single mother and graduated from Dyke New Hartford High School. She spends her spare time hanging out with her family and her husky Echo, sipping coffee and reading books. I just gave a little excerpt, so if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the people and let them know who you are and why you're running.
Hi, I'm Leila. I live kind of outside of Rhinebeck, so if you're in the area, that's kind of where I'm at. I graduated high school and I went to Drake University to study law. I couldn't afford the tuition. I learned it the hard way. I moved back home. I went to community college and I got my EMT, my medic, and now I work as a paralegal. So that's what I do outside of running for office. And I decided to run because I was really angry and people around me were angry that the seat was unopposed for so long. And who better to oppose than someone really angry at the government?
Thank you for that. That's true. There are a lot of unopposed seats in this country that people should be running for. So I just want to ask you an icebreaker question. We know that running as a candidate can be hard, be stressful, long days. So, what is one hobby that you had to put on the back burner while running for your seat?
Ooh, on the back burner. Oh goodness. I'd say probably reading fiction, like reading fun books. Now I just read boring books. Well, they're not boring to me, but I read a lot of politics books. So I've swept those out. And I exercise a lot less than I did before running for office.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
All right, so we're just
Well,
gonna
probably still more than me.
we're gonna go ahead and jump into our questions, and Melanie will take the first topic of economic development and jobs.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us today, Leila. So you are running for a House seat in the state of Illinois, Iowa, in the state of Iowa, in District 54, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. So how will you go to the Congress, the state Congress of Iowa, and pass legislation that supports small businesses and local entrepreneurs in the small towns? How will you do that?
So for small businesses, I think right now we currently have a program just for tax breaks. Oh goodness, I'm sorry. I didn't expect that sound to come through. But we have very low amounts of tax breaks. It goes up to like $12,000 a year. And I think raising that specifically for small local businesses where they're operated in Iowa, they're owned in Iowa, obviously employees work in Iowa. I think we can raise that to further sustain and kind of encourage more people to open small businesses. And I think with more businesses open and sustaining the current businesses that we have, we can build our economy and make it more sustainable for everyone. Does that make sense? I'm sorry.
Yes, that makes sense. That's great. Sounds like you got a little plan going already. I know you got a little bit more time, so I'm sure more ideas will come forward. So I'm going to then go into maybe your plans on keeping young Iowans from leaving Iowa to get jobs out of state once they, graduate high school or get their degree.
Yeah. So I think first, we really need doctors in Iowa. We are in a healthcare crisis. We have the least amount of OBGYNs in the nation per capita. And I think one of the biggest and most successful ways to get doctors to both come to Iowa and to stay in Iowa is student debt forgiveness. I think any person, no matter where you studied, to get doctors to come to Iowa, it's going to be student debt forgiveness. We've done it before on a lesser scale than what I would prefer. I'd like to do 80%, but we've done it up to 40%. We're not currently using that program. I think the last time that program was kind of in full swing was around 2008. But I'd like to see something come back for that and make it higher and more sustainable. And those doctors that would hypothetically come to our state would be living here, spending their money here, and that would also help our economy. And it's healthcare options for people who live in Iowa. We need those to stay. I know so many people who have left the state to go to Minnesota, specifically for healthcare. And I think that's a really big thing that we're not giving enough credit to for the reason that people are leaving. I think another way to get people to stay is a grant program for students who commit to stay here for 5 years after they graduate. Because our economy is so bad, right? It's so bad, and it's so difficult to find jobs. I think for degrees like nursing, teaching, like high demand fields, And that also includes different types of trades. I want to make sure I mention that. Grants, so it's easier for them to either pay back their student loans in the beginning while they're starting, or to purchase the tools that they need to go into their career. I think those are two huge things that would help college students stay in Iowa after they graduate.
Absolutely. That sounds like a winner to me. You already got a couple of people in the chat that is saying they moving to Iowa if that can come to fruition. So if anyone has a question for Miss Leila, at Leila or Layla?
It's Leila.
Leila. Okay, I got it now. If you have any questions for Miss Leila, you could come up. Just hit the multi-guest request at the bottom, or you can just put your questions in the chat, and I will present them to her. Mr. 5 a.m. down here said that agricultural majors are expensive, so that may be a good tool to keep people or bring people there, one or the other, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, looks like we don't have any questions on economic development at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this back to Ms. Blessings, and she's going to talk about healthcare, since you already kind of alluded to that.
I know. We do have one person requesting
Hold
up.
on.
So let's.
We do.
Yep.
Yo, grab me up.
Hello,
I am
Five.
from-
Hello, Five.
I am from Kansas City. I have farmland in Blockton, southern Iowa. We own a number of small plots all along the Iowa border. Now, I know a lot of Iowans, and I really enjoy your idea of incentivizing young professionals or even just citizens that are promoting themselves through education and furthering that. Like I said, agriculture is your strength. I hope that you can find a way to promote that within the state. But on the other side of that, the Iowans I know are conservative folks. They don't want to pay taxes. They think you're taxing them in any way would be scamming them. So how would you plan to pay for any sort of execution of said grants or type? I guess in Kansas City we use TIF. So like I don't know what that would be called for citizens, but like TIF support for citizenry.
Right. So
Thank you for that question.
And
Yeah,
you can drop it down. I'll take the answer from chat.
I think so. When talking to conservative voters, because I live in a very rural, very red district, as red as you can call it without opposition, right? I think it's important to make sure that we know no one will be paying more in taxes. There are enough taxes paid. It's where the tax money is going. So majority of our tax dollars are going toward agricultural corporations. People who don't live in Iowa, who own land and are operating from a corporation standpoint, that is where a majority of our tax dollars are going, upwards of 30%. I don't think corporations need tax breaks. I think they should probably pay taxes, considering they're using our state. They can pay. I think we need to hold those corporations accountable, make them pay what they owe, and also hold them accountable for the environment that they're destroying. I think it's important to know that all of the taxes that would pay for these grants are already paid. It's not, we won't be taxing people more. It's the same amount, it's just where it's going. I think putting the tax dollars toward things to keep people in Iowa, like a grant program or student debt relief, impact us in a more positive way than giving them to corporations that aren't even here to benefit our economy by spending.
Thank you for that answer. Five, I hope that answers your question. I am going to move into healthcare. So you already kind of touched on healthcare, and we know that rural hospitals are closing, and like you said, there's not a lot of OBGYNs, and maternity wards are vanishing. You touched on this a little bit, but if you want to go in a little bit more detail of how you can ensure access to care within 30 miles for every Iowan, and maybe retain healthcare workers, if you have any other ideas other than the student debt relief.
Yeah, I think a pay parity is really important. I know a lot of the hospitals in Iowa right now who are unionized are striking, demanding pay parities, which I don't want to mansplain. Should I explain what a pay parity is?
Yes.
Okay, so a pay parity is kind of a standard, the highest amount. So for nursing example, if one hospital is paying $23.73 an hour, and this hospital is hiring at 13, this hospital is required to pay this $23 an hour. These hospitals can afford it. They really can in wages. And I think specifically with our rural hospitals that won't close from the big beautiful bill. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know how to keep them open at this time. I don't know what further to expect from the federal government. It's difficult to make a plan that would stand tall in 2026, this far out from 2026. But I think investing in the employees that are working at these hospitals helps sustain the hospital itself. You get better care, more patients, it's more reliable of care. They're able to be open for longer, money flows more, which helps hospitals stay open. And I think that's one of the most important things, is making sure that hospital workers are compensated fairly and competitively.
Thank you for that. I 100% agree. As a person with student loan debt, I would love some debt relief. All right, so we talked about the hospitals closing and maternity wards. So if you want to touch a little bit more on your stance on women's reproductive care and privacy rights.
Yeah, of course. I mean, full privacy rights. HIPAA should absolutely apply to every aspect of anything health related. I am in favor of repealing the abortion ban. That is one of the biggest reasons OBGYNs have left our state, is because our OBGYN laws are super strict. I think it's 6 weeks. No one knows they're pregnant at 6 weeks. It's dangerous. It plays with people's health. It's honestly disgusting legislation. And I'm fully in favor of repealing the 6-week abortion ban. And abortion bans in general, because that's weird.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
That's fine. I just came off mic to say, if we talk about that again, just say AB for TikTok purposes. TikTok's a little funny.
I am so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. If anybody in the crowd would like to come up and ask about, everybody's putting AB in the chat. If anybody in the crowd would like to come up to ask a question about women's healthcare or healthcare in general, go ahead and put your question in the chat or request up. Let's see if anybody put some. I have seen other states as well, doctors leaving because of the new AB laws and bans, and other states are also dealing with the same crisis of healthcare workers leaving the state, especially OBGYNs. And we need women to have babies, so.
Right.
All right, I'm not seeing any questions at the time. If you have any, feel free to put them in the chat. I am going to pass it to Melanie to do a rapid fire.
All righty. Let's see. Okay, my rapid fire questions. Now, a couple of these you already answered for me, but I'm gonna give them to you anyway. Climate change, top priority or long-term plan?
Both?
Both. Okay. College debt, forgive it or reform it?
Reform it until we can forgive it.
Okay. Federal or state control over our education?
I guess I'd prefer kind of both, but federal now.
Federal. Federal? Okay. Tax the rich more or cut taxes for everyone?
Tax the rich more.
Okay. Social media regulated. Social media regulation. Do we want more freedom or more accountability?
More accountability.
More accountability. This is why you can't say the AB word on here. I want more freedom, ma'am. Stop censoring me. All right. Well, we are going to go into education. Let's talk about that. Sorry. So, do you support increasing federal funding for early childhood and special education services?
Yes.
And why?
It's so important. I think I saw that the funding got slashed when there already wasn't enough.
True.
It's hard to keep composure with this federal government right now. But I have 3 siblings in special needs classes, and their opportunity it shrinks every year by the lack of funding and the lack of education that they can get. And I think it's really important to make sure we're investing in everyone, in every student. I think all students deserve equal opportunity to learn, to grow, and to be successful.
Absolutely. I actually thought we were moving in a direction because I too have my niece, my son, both needed IEPs in high school. They both gone off to their careers in life now, but they both needed IEPs. So I actually thought we were moving in a more progressive direction for special needs and those types of programs to help out our our children that need more help than the average child, right?
Right.
So what's your plan? I'm sorry, nope. What's your view on school vouchers and how they affect small town public schools?
They are terrible. We have a private school voucher program. Over 83% of the recipients of this voucher program were already wealthy, already attending private schools. They're just money sucks from the public schools. Also, in our state, I'm not sure if it's a similar case in other states, but in Iowa, our auditor cannot audit the money that is being taken from public to private. He can't read. He can't do his job to tell us where the money's going, what the money's being used toward. We only have people data.
Explain that again. Explain that for me. What you mean by he can't audit it?
So our governor, Kim Reynolds, basically said no. Had a bill passed through the House saying that our state auditor, Rob Sand, cannot audit the amount of money going from our public schools, from our government to private schools. So he can't audit where specifically the money is going.
Meaning he cannot track whether or not the money that was meant for the public schools, if it actually went to the private schools, or which private schools it's going to, or what do you, I'm just a little confused.
It's kind of hard to describe. But we cannot see which specific private school the money is being taken, how much they're taking. We cannot see, we can see which families qualify for these vouchers. It's not income restricted or anything. He cannot see specific amounts for each school. We can only see the amount of students that switch from public to private.
I'm not sure. Blessings, do you know the voucher program? Is the rules of it per state? I mean, does each state do something different, or is this a federal?
I would imagine it's probably, I don't know, but I would imagine it's state because I don't know. I don't think all states have the voucher program. So
Right.
Yeah. Ours is by the state.
Yeah.
Yours is by the state. Okay. And they do not have a income height
No,
that you know.
nope.
Wow.
Yeah. So I
I'm
think the
going.
data is um, around 23,000 students across the entire state have been able to switch, which is little to no students in comparison to the amount of people in public schools.
Right.
Majority of the money is funding Iowa's wealthiest families' education right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that information. I'm going to go ahead and pass this back to Ms. Blessings to talk about public safety, I believe.
Yes, we are going to go into public safety. I don't know. Did you see any questions about education in the comments?
I did not. But if anyone does have a question, they was just kind of helping me out with this, that it is a state by state thing.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyone
that's
has any questions, please request up or put one in the chat about education. I know y'all may not know a whole lot about Iowa, but that's more reason to ask. We have an Iowan here who can help us out.
yeah. That voucher thing is very very interesting. All right. So I'm gonna transition into public safety. We know that there has been an increase or there is mental health crisis going on. Do you support expanding mental health crisis response team and treatment programs?
Yes.
Go ahead and can you explain just a little bit more?
I was used to the rapid fire.
Okay, yes, these are open-ended.
But yes, I think so. In Iowa, most of our public safety resources are off of fire departments and police departments. And I think expanding funding for mental health awareness programs for fire departments and police departments to go through is one of the easiest ways to kind of start to expand how we handle our mental health crisis. So for fire departments, and then, so that's like EMTs for us, EMTs, AEMTs, and then firefighters. And then for police departments too, because our hospitals are so far and our mental health clinics are so far spread out across the state that it's not sustainable to put all of the responsibility on our very few institutions that we have for those things. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you for that. And then I have one more question. So you did talk about police officers and local enforcement a little bit. So in what ways can you ensure local law enforcement have resources without militarizing police in small towns?
Yeah, I think this kind of goes along with our mental health kind of plan, is honestly giving them funding for training. I think cultural awareness training is so important, and I think it would impact our communities so greatly, especially since there are none right now. And I think that's kind of one of the best places to start, alongside with mental health training, and kind of see data on how that impacts to see where we should navigate from there.
Okay. Thank you for that. It looks like we do have one person requesting up. Let's see. Ayana, welcome to the panel.
Hey y'all, thanks for having me. My question is related to education. I see that now I'm in Ohio, and Ohio tried to do this and it didn't pass. But I see that Iowa, I don't know if you all talked about this, the Iowa Divisive Concepts Law. Are you familiar with that?
Is it for high schools or the one for colleges?
The one for high schools. That I guess it precludes teaching of certain subjects that would be seen as dividing people. Is this something that you think is beneficial, or something that you're just like, this is ridiculous, we should get rid of this? And if you could, how would you propose getting rid of it or doing something different?
So it's been a while since I've read that specific piece of legislation, but I think it's kind of a waste. I think it's harming education more than it's helping. I think a lot of learning comes from talking about divisive topics. It's when you learn about them early, learn about certain topics. Like when I was in high school, we were taught CRT. We were taught about the Holocaust. Now, I have siblings that are in high school. They hardly learn about topics like that as it pertains to history. And I think that's obviously very harmful. And I think I don't want to call it a don't say gay bill because that's not what it is. But part of that impacts how people can talk about their families when they're at school. I think that's incredibly harmful. I think if in time I am elected, I absolutely want to change that. I think it's important to talk about divisive topics. I think that's where you learn the most, at least in my experience and from other articles I've read.
Well, and one issue I think people have is that they sometimes don't move their educational journey beyond high school. And so if they don't go to college, they're really not going to hear about, because college is, you go get a liberal arts education, you're going to hear about these so-called divisive topics and you're going to learn things. And so if they don't move beyond high school, then they're certainly not going to learn that. And then it starts that whole generation of people who don't understand others because they're not exposed to their history or their cultural backgrounds. And it doesn't develop a society that's just we all see each other as one. It develops a society where we don't even appreciate where people are coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't help. Our state is 95% white. Our state is not diverse in any way. And I think what you can make up for in physical diversity, you can make up for as best as possible with education. And I think shortcutting education in that way only hurts us more.
So they just said we're 95% white. We don't need to learn about.
You learn about nobody.
We don't need to know about anybody.
Literally.
No, ma'am.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Okay.
question, Ms. Ayana.
Thank you. Thank you, Leila. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. We got one more person here.
There you got it.
Let's see. Miss Joni. Welcome to the panel, Miss Joni. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you all?
All right. What's your question for Leila?
Yes, Miss Leila. So here in Texas, I work for our local mental health authority, which is what we are is we're contracted through Health and Human Services for the state, and we cover certain counties, and each district, that they're assigned a different local, either it's called a local mental health authority, a local behavioral health authority, and then there's also the local intellectual disability authority. So does Iowa have things like that? Or do you know? No? Okay.
I don't believe we do. At least,
Okay.
and not in my district, for sure.
Okay. I know not every district in Texas has it, not that I know of, but I do know, like, here in the DFW area, we have North Texas Behavioral Health Authority, so we pay for people's mental health treatment as well as SUD treatment. We help get them connected to other resources in their communities, just whatever they may need. So hopefully Iowa can look into getting something like that.
Yeah. And if we do, I know it's not in my district, so I wrote it down so I can research to see if it exists in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
So I can look into that to see. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you, Miss Joni. Appreciate you coming up.
Thank you.
All right. Bless.
All right. So thank you for all the people that's been coming up asking questions. Make sure if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat or you can request up. So we're going to do another set of rapid fire, but these will be more fun. Are you ready? All right. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh gosh. I think I'm more of a morning person, but I also stay up really late. So kind of both. Especially right now.
Sweet or salty foods?
Salty.
Would you rather travel back in time or into the future?
Back in time, I think.
Okay. If your pet could text you, what would they say most often?
I want to play.
Your favorite book you've read?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I just finished 107 Days by Kamala Harris. Not my favorite book of all time, but my favorite book at the moment.
Okay. All right. And what's the worst superpower you could think of?
Invisible. Invisible.
Being invisible? Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that bad? It'd be good for me.
I don't know. I just feel like a lot of accidents could happen. Like you could get hit by a car because someone didn't see you.
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
makes sense. That makes
That's true. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Buttermilk. Oh, Melanie. Oh my gosh.
Buttermilk is my name, my TikTok name. And so that's what she.
I'm so used to calling you that.
I know.
Anyway,
It's okay.
I'm going to pass it off to Melanie.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about environment and infrastructure. Okay. What's your plan to expand renewable energy like wind and solar while respecting private property rights?
I think offering tax relief for solar panels in the way that we were expected to in the state of Iowa, continuing that plan would be really beneficial for renewable energy. We have a ton of wind farms all across the state. They are all Mid-American Energy. So I think focusing on solar energy would have more of a payoff
Okay.
in the beginning.
So I'm taking in your facial expression. So I'm trying to gauge, how do you feel about the wind energy?
I support it. I don't know how much it kind of helps people in our state. That's something I should research more. Sorry, I'm taking notes so I can make sure that I'm prepared.
Absolutely. I was gonna say that I know quite a few people might view you as being young and maybe even a little naive to everything, but I actually think that's perfect because you will go into this thing with no preconceived notions. You just know that don't sound right. That's gonna help. And
I think we
make
need
the
people who aren't used to
decisions.
everything.
Yes, to make the decisions off of that instead of going in like it should be like this, it should be like this, it should be like this, and you can't be moved on anything, right? That we get it's called stuck in our ways. That's what us old folks are, stuck in our ways. But
I appreciate that. Thank you.
yes, but back to environment and infrastructure. How do we make sure how do we make sure that Iowa's infrastructure upgrades actually reach the smaller towns and counties?
Yeah, I think, well, for one, making sure to communicate with our county boards in everyone's district to make sure that the communication is clear on what would benefit specific counties, what would not benefit certain counties, and what would harm certain counties is really important because each area of our state is different. I think communication is definitely key on making sure that we're holding ourselves and other elected officials accountable in making sure that we follow through on infrastructure plans. I do think, I think that's one of the most important aspects in making sure that we're holding each other accountable. Can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Well, we want to make sure that the plans, the infrastructure plans, are reaching the smaller, more rural communities.
Yeah. So I think making sure that communication's clear on certain plans. I think making sure that each county, every person has access to reliable and fast internet is really important. I think it's called broadband. Is that what it's called for you guys too? Okay. I think making sure broadband internet is reaching all rural areas, because it doesn't. It doesn't reach me. So I know 100%. I think that is one of the first steps that we can take to making sure that we're investing in rural communities. I think also making sure that we're holding pesticide companies accountable for what they're putting into our water. Rural areas feel that the most. I think that's incredibly important. I think those are the two things that are.
How knowledgeable are you about these new data centers that are popping up everywhere?
I really don't like them. They're so bad for the environment. Why
is that?
Okay. They take so much water, so much clean water, and it disperses. It goes too quick. I'm not a scientist, for the record, but it takes more water than can cycle through the
thinner.
Yeah. Before it can come back to us to
recycled
use.
Right. Okay.
And that's really bad for the environment. It takes so much energy. It's insane. It makes people's internet and utility bills double or more. It's so bad.
Wow.
I'm also just really against a lot of use of AI because it's so bad for the environment and because it's so bad for us as human beings. So maybe that also charges that opinion.
Yes.
But I'm very in favor of regulating how AI is used.
Agreed. Well, our president said that we have lots of water, more water than we can, so why is everything? So you don't think, do you disagree that we have enough water to filter the?
I'm gonna disagree.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just wanted to check. Go ahead with one of our last topics here, Miss Blessings, for Miss Leila.
I do have a question about the data. Do you have a lot of data centers in Iowa?
We have one right now. It's out of Cedar Rapids, so a couple hours away from me, but we
do you know there's plans to build more in Iowa?
I've heard.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, but I think that is something that we will. I think AI data centers are something that everywhere is going to have to kind of stand up to.
So, someone H4H Iowa said yes, there are several in DSM.
Forget about Des Moines. Yes.
And Uncle Daddy is asking, do you think there are other motives for these data centers other than AI?
Ooh, I'm not sure. Other than AI?
Other than AI?
Motives.
No?
I don't think so,
either.
but maybe. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't either.
All right. So let's go into our next section, which is local focus. So you kind of talked about the government being transparent already. And so how would you this kind of just expand on how you will make the government more transparent and accountable to Iowans and Would you be committed to holding town halls and listening sessions across District 54?
Yes, of course. I already do that. And I don't intend to stop.
Okay.
I think when you're elected to represent someone, you're obligated to hear from the people that you're representing. But to answer the first part of your question, I think the first step is to allow our state auditor to do their job.
Okay. That's the first one.
I know that's probably specific to Iowa, but our auditor can't audit right now, like especially with the private school voucher program.
Yes. So I want to ask about that. So is it just the private? Because I know you talked about the private school, they couldn't audit that, but are they also having problems auditing other parts of government and where money is going?
Right now, I think the biggest problem is with the private school voucher system that we have. It is a lot of money, however, and I think allowing the auditor to actually audit, because from my perspective, I think if you're not allowing the auditor to touch one subject, one area of the government, what are you regulating on the outside of that? What are you controlling outside of that specific area where you won't allow them to touch? I think we need to make sure that we give the auditor full reign to do their full job. And I worry that that's not being done.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought I heard an echo. Okay. No, maybe I didn't. All right. So we know Veterans Day was yesterday. So what are your thoughts on veteran care in Iowa, and do you think there's any improvements that can be made in your state?
Yeah, I think. Sorry, that spooked me. I think it's important to make sure that all of our veterans are fully taken care of. I don't think a veteran should go without housing. I don't think a veteran should go without food. I don't think a veteran should go without health care. I think it's ridiculous that our veterans go without after quite literally serving our country. But I think making sure that they have access to affordable housing and are able to be fed and have kind of autonomy over what they're fed is really important. I don't think our veterans should have to be put into a position of going to the food bank. I think that harms them. And I think we need to make sure that we're investing in those aspects of their lives and make healthcare more accessible to them as well.
Okay. Is there, as far as veteran care in Iowa, do you know how well it's funded, or how much? I know you speak about veterans and healthcare. So do you believe in Iowa that veterans aren't getting what they need?
I do not believe that veterans are getting what they need. I think the closest VA to me is 2.5 hours away. And there are a lot of veterans in my neighborhood. That's 2.5 hours that they have to drive to an appointment, if they can even get an appointment. Our VAs are understaffed, they're underfunded, which is it's shortcutting them on their health. We need to invest more into specifically our VAs and make sure that they're able to be fully staffed, and then make them more accessible for veterans who need to go.
All right. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
There isn't some type of echo, but I want to see if anybody in the chat has a question about public safety, veterans, healthcare, anything we touched on today, or if you just have any questions about Iowa. It looks like Melanie has a question.
So, Leila, do you know if what the party race? What's the word I'm looking for? How that's broken up as far as Democrats, Republicans, Independents in the Congress of Iowa?
Ooh, I don't know the for sure number, but I know at least, so this last election cycle, 25% of Iowa House seats went unopposed.
Oh, wow.
So they were guaranteed Republican wins. It is a very slanted power in our government right now.
Okay. So it is Republican led.
Yeah, we have a Republican trifecta.
Okay. But you're not sure by how much at this moment.
No, not exactly, no.
All right. So Miss Trish, I'm sorry, that was Miss Trish, but we do have a question. Do you think veterans should have to choose between their military retirement and VA disability?
No, you work for your retirement. That shouldn't come into question along with, like, where you have to pick between VA disability and your retirement. That's silly to me, in my opinion, at least.
Right. And how do we move forward turning this red state purple instead of blue and mostly blue? I'm sorry, let me read that again. How do we move forward turning this red state purple and mostly blue?
Well, I think a Democrat should be running in every single race. We have a lot of unrepresented people, a lot of people who didn't have anyone to vote for our state government in the last cycle. I think that's kind of step one. And then step two is to have people who actually care about the state and people in the state and the environment running. I think making sure that we have people who listen are running. I think that is how Democrats win, especially grassroots, especially in red and rural areas.
Have you ever thought about leaving Iowa?
Yeah.
Yeah. What keeps you there?
My family's here. I love the people who live here. And I like that we get all 4 seasons.
Okay. Now you did say that Iowa is about 95% white. Where have you gotten your experience with other cultures or races and ethnicities?
College.
Well, you said you went away, but then you came back.
Yep, I went to Drake University and I couldn't afford it. Drake University was relatively diverse, especially in my class or grade. And then when I went to Hawkeye, it was more diverse than my neighborhood. I've traveled a bit. I've been privileged enough to travel
Okay.
to other areas of the country.
Where do you stand on lobbying and term limits?
I'm so against lobbying. I don't think lobbying should be a thing for any party, for any organization, when money's involved. I think storytelling is important and it's impactful enough. You should not have to give a representative money to get your point across. I think that's a threat on democracy. I think it hurts our democracy. And term limits, I am fully in support of term limits at every level.
Absolutely.
I do have a question. I think I'm echoing, that's why I'm on mute. But I have 2 questions actually. So the first question is, I know you talked about there's been a lot of Republican seats running unopposed in Iowa. Are there Democratic organizations in Iowa that are helping people run for local offices or state offices?
I think before 2024, no. But after 2024, yes. I think the 2024 election, especially with the special elections that Iowa has had, and even at like our federal level, our federal representatives, all Republican, they're being watched like a hawk, and they're all almost like at a toss-up right now on that scale. And a lot of people and a lot of organizations are paying more attention to Iowa, and I think that's really exciting to get more progressive or more Democrats elected.
Okay, for that. There might be some Iowans in here that would love that information. And then my second question is about, I've looked through your website, through your platform, and you have a repeal HF 654 / SF 534. Okay. I saw the big breath. So if you could just explain that a little bit more, because I kind of looked into it, but I'm not from Iowa. And for this, if you can just say pew pew for referencing those items or whatever. Okay.
So I want to make sure I'm careful with my language here. This piece of legislation allows students and faculty to have a pew pew in their car in school parking lots. In school parking.
Yeah.
Co-sponsored by my opponent. And I don't think that's safe.
No, it's not safe at all.
So yes, I would like to repeal. No. No. It's not. It disgusts me, actually.
This was passed, or what, is it just been introduced?
Passed. In 2020, either 2022 or early 2020s, maybe.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact year. It was before a couple of the school extravaganzas happened.
Do you, she said, someone said it passed in 2024, but
Or,
has there been one of those in Iowa that you are aware of?
yeah,
Yeah.
that happened. Yeah. And then threats are at an all-time high in our state right now, this year.
So do you have any plans? I know you want to repeal this, but do you also have any plans or legislation in mind that you would like to enforce stronger pew pew laws, or how would you go about that?
I think specifically for school related things, I think it's important to make sure our schools are safeguarded to the best of their ability. People who shouldn't have pew pews get pew pews all the time right now, and I think a good first step to kind of start reducing the violence in schools is metal detectors at the doors. I think that's really important. I think investing in things like that for all of our schools is really important. I am in favor of the Second Amendment. I do think that there needs to be more legislation regarding it. I think we need to have red flag laws and background checks, and we need to regulate how people get them and not at pew pew shows where anybody can just go in and get what they want. I think that's unsafe and irresponsible.
Okay. Well, hold on. It's me with the echo. Hold on. All right. Is that better? Or maybe a little. Okay. So let's go into our last few questions. My first question for you is, what sets you apart from your either other Democratic opponents or your Republican opponent? What sets you apart from them?
So what sets me apart from my Republican opponent is that, well, I talk to people in the district and I care about them. I do not care about companies or corporations or other exploitive forms of like institutions over people. I think people are at a much higher value than some corporation. I'm in favor of protecting our environment and saving our environment. So many things. I care about kids' education. I'm against the private school voucher program. And for the record, we do not have a private school that students graduate from in our district. So we rely 100% on public schools, minus homeschooling, for students' education, especially in the high school levels. So I think I would not vote in favor of that. Now, I don't have any Democratic opponents, but other Democrats that are running in the state, I don't take corporate PAC money. I don't take any lobbyist money. It's all grassroots, all people. And I think, for one, I think big money needs to be out of politics overall, but I'm one to lead by example. And I don't want my vote to be owed to anyone. I think that hurts our democracy as well. What are other things that would make me different than other Democrats at a state level? I'm not afraid to call out harmful behaviors that are happening in other places in the world. I don't think groups of people should go away for no reason.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to be really TikTok safe.
That's okay. You did good. You did good. Well, let's go into the last question. If elected, what is the single most important change you hope to achieve for your district in your first term? And what does that success looks like?
Okay. This is hard because there's 3 really big ones that are like all at one top priority for me, but I think solving our water quality crisis is the most important, especially with our rising cancer rate. I think holding pesticide companies accountable and making them pay for the harm that they have done is the first step to solving that, and then investing in infrastructure to make sure our water's clean and to get nitrates out of our water is really important. And that also goes hand in hand with holding agribusiness accountable for how they are also, they have their hand in hurting our water. And I think that's one of the most important things right now.
Okay. There was 3.
Okay, I thought I had to pick one.
No,
Keep going.
you did all of them.
I think, sorry about that. I think repealing the private school voucher program is also incredibly important to my district. We don't have a private school that students graduate from. The students in our district's education is getting cut. It is like undermined by a private school that they can't attain, that they aren't able to go to. And investing in young people is so important to keep a society thriving. I think that is also one of the most important things. And investing in OBGYN care is the third in that top priority bubble. I'm going to try to be very careful with how I say this, but it does not seem logical to me to ban AB, expect people to have families with no OBGYN care.
Right.
I think that's irresponsible. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that.
So at the end of your first term, you want to see school vouchers done away with. You want to see, what was the first thing you said? Goodness, it just slipped my mind.
Water quality.
The water.
The water. You want to see an initiative or something happening where there is more clean water flowing through your district.
Yes.
And then the third thing that you want to see at the end of your term is, give it to me again, blessing.
More access to OBGYN care.
More access to OGBY. Yes, because it's be irresponsible. I was listening.
I believe you.
It would be irresponsible of them to tell you have to have all these babies and then don't have nobody to birth the babies. Absolutely. I 100% agree. So I really hope that those things happen for you and for Iowa and for District 54. I do have a question here. How do you plan on actually getting this done? Legislation is hard to pass, especially now. And it sounds like if we have a lot of unopposed Republicans still in there, you will have a fight on your hands. So, yes, how do you plan on getting this done?
So I think it's important. I think Republicans, when they are in at a half or in a minority, act completely differently than they do when they have the majority, especially here in Iowa. All electeds have the responsibility to represent their constituents and make Iowans' lives better. And I think once we get more Democrats elected into the office, it will be easier to pass legislation. And I want to make it clear, I intend to work with Republicans to get things done. You have to, in order to get anything ever done in Iowa right now. And I just want to make sure it's clear that I'm not someone who will only work with Democrats or only work with Democrats and independents. I will work with anyone who wants to work on the same issue to make Iowans' lives better. Does that
Yes,
make
absolutely.
sense?
Ms. Blessings and
I do have one more question. I'm sorry. One more question. You did talk about the OBGYN and family, and I saw that you do have on one of your issues is family values. So in what ways do you plan on making it easier for people to have family and also with childcare?
Okay, childcare. I would like to work. Oh, I'm so sorry. My screen time went off on the TikTok. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. You're
I'm
good.
sorry. My TikTok regulates how much time I spend. Can you repeat your question? I'm so sorry.
Sure. You talk about family values and you talked about OBGYN and having families in Iowa. So in what ways do you plan to make it easier for people to have families and also affordable childcare?
Yeah, I think working toward a universal pre-K is one of the most important things for every student, well, every kid who would become a student. It both invests in their education and it also allows parents to get to work sooner than when they go to elementary school. I think that's one of the easiest ways to start to work toward a universal child care. I think it both kind of tests to see economic impact and how it benefits people, with also fully investing in communities. I think in my opinion, it's better to focus on a universal pre-K before a full universal childcare, to see where that could potentially go and grow into. Yeah.
One more question. Do you your state as far as paternity and maternity leave? Do you know how long that is in your state? If it's not long enough, would you plan to try to expand it, or do they have, those kind of things? Your thoughts on that?
So we don't technically have a mandate for all employees. We have a 6-week mandate for state employees for maternity leave. I am 100% in favor of expanding that for state employees and for all employees. I don't think you should have to work for the state in order to have the benefit. I don't think it's a benefit. I think it's like pure human respect, but for all people who are working, moms and dads, and all parents.
absolutely. Like you said, it goes also with you're asking people to have more children, and yet you still do not put the things in place to make that journey just a little bit more easier, right? It's
Absolutely.
like it's almost like common sense.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Leila, for joining us today. I appreciate you answering all of our questions and the questions that were in the chat and from the people that came up. We want to thank everybody for coming in today. I do have one final question. So, what is your final message to voters as you head towards election and continuing your campaign?
Okay. My message is to go. I change it every time. So, what would I like? I'm good. Can I exchange it for a call to action?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. I encourage everyone in here to become a bigger part of their community. It's really important right now. Right now, as it's getting colder and as all of the news continues to get more overwhelming, it is so easy to kind of isolate yourself and stay inside and not talk to anyone. And that's so bad for you. Please go outside. Please talk to people in your community. And if you ever need help, your community's there. If anyone in your community needs help, you're there. And it's really important right now. So please do that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Again, do you have any social medias or how people can support your campaign? So any way they can support your campaign, any social medias that you may have that they can follow and follow your journey.
So I'm Leila for Leilafor Iowa on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And then if you're not on those, you can absolutely email me. I try my best to respond to all emails, and it's the same, Leilafor Iowa. And then I do have an Act Blue. If you would like to donate, it's Leila Staton on Act Blue.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you. Make sure you guys follow Leila, support her journey as she runs for State House in Iowa District 54.
Thank you so
Can I
much.
say something really quickly, Blessings?
Yeah.
So Leila, I'm going to put these vibes already out to you. We did a town hall for a young man who is 22 years old, who was running for the mayor of his small town of Stockbridge.
I was going to say the same thing. You read my mind. Go ahead.
And he won.
That's awesome.
So we're putting them vibes out to you. You're going to be a young rep in Iowa. And we already, so I followed you just so I know I'll be able to congratulate you on November of 2026. Yes?
Thank you so much. It means a lot. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
You're
It's a
welcome.
pleasure.
This was great. Yes.
It was awesome.
We'll follow you and have you back when you win.
Thank
We can
you.
celebrate. All right. So I just want to thank you again for coming. Thank all the people in the chat for coming, for answering our questions, for people putting questions in the chat, for also coming up. And then I just want to remind everybody one more time that we are OVC, which is Our Vote Counts, which is a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure every voice is heard through education, outreach, accountability, and action. We are building a stronger democracy, one informed voter at a time. Join us. Your voice, your power. And before we go, I just want to announce our next town hall, which I want to invite you, Leila, to come to more town halls with us, and even people in the chat. Tomorrow, we'll have Anna Lee Williams. She is running for U.S. House District 11, and we will have her tomorrow at 8 p.m. So I encourage everybody in the chat to come, and Leila, for you to join us as well if you can.
Of course. Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. Thank you all for being here tonight. And again, we are OVC, Our Votes Counts, and have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.